George Romero's Night of the Living Dead opens with our protagonist Barbara visiting her father's grave with her brother Johnny.
Do you remember one time when we were small, we were out here? It was from right over there. I jumped out at you from behind the tree, and Grandpa got all excited, and he shook his fist at me, and he said, "Boy, you be damned to hell." Remember that? Right over there. Well, you used to really be scared here.
Johnny.
You're still afraid.
Stop it now, I mean it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're acting like a child.
They're coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now.
He'll hear you.
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
Johnny. Oh! No! No! Johnny! Help
At this point, Romero elevates the genre and turns it into a character study. What becomes of the survivors' humanity when the apocalypse is right outside their door?
For the victims, medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered. Repeating this latest bulletin just received moments ago from Cumberland, Maryland, civil defense authorities have told newsmen that murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured by their murderers. Medical examination of victims' bodies shows conclusively that the killers are eating the flesh of the people they kill. And so this incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report. It's difficult to imagine such a thing actually happening, but these are the reports we have been receiving and passing on to you, reports which have been verified as completely as is possible in this confused situation. It is happening, and it would appear that no one is safe from this wave of mass murder.
Don't shoot. We're from town. A radio.
County, Pennsylvania. The Butler County Sheriff has verified that reports of murder victims being partially eaten by their slayers is true. No further details available at this time. However,
how long you guys been down there? I could use some help up here.
That's the cellar. It's the safest place.
You mean you didn't hear the racket we were making up here?
How were we supposed to know what was going on? Could have been those things for all we knew.
That girl was screaming. Sure, you must know what a girl screaming sounds like. Those things don't make any noise. Anybody would know somebody if they needed help.
Look, it's kind of hard to hear what's going on from down there.
We thought we could hear screams, but for all we knew, that could have meant those things were in the house afterward.
And you wouldn't come up and help?
Well, if there were more...
The racket sounded like the place was being ripped apart. How were we supposed to know what was going on?
Now, wait a minute. You just got finished saying you couldn't hear from down there. Now you say it sounded like the place was being ripped apart. It would be nice if you get your story straight, man.
All right, now you tell me. I'm not going to take that kind of a chance when we got a safe place. We luck into a safe place, and you're telling us we got to risk our lives just because somebody might need help, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, why don't we settle this?
Mister, we came up. Okay, we're here. Now I suggest we all go back downstairs before any of those things find out we're in here.
They can't get in here.
You got the whole place boarded up?
Yeah, most of it. All but a few spots upstairs. They won't be hard to fix.
You're insane. The cellar's the safest place.
I'm telling you, they can't get in here.
And I'm telling you, those things turned over our car. We were damn lucky to get away at all. Now you tell me those things can't get through this lousy pile of wood?
His wife and kids downstairs. The kid's hurt.
Well, I still think we're better off up here.
We could strengthen everything up, Mr. Cooper.
With all of us working, we could fix this place up in no time. We have everything we need up here.
We can take all that stuff downstairs with us. Man, you're really crazy, you know that? You got 1,000,000 windows up here. All these windows, you're gonna make them strong enough to keep these things out, huh?
I told you those things don't have any strength. I smashed 3 of them and pushed another one out the door.
Did you hear me when I told you they turned over our car?
Oh, hell, any good 5 men can do that.
That's my point. Only there's not going to be 5 or even 10. There's going to be 20, 30, maybe 100 of those things. And as soon as they know we're here, this place is going to be crawling with them.
Well, if there are that many, they'll probably get us wherever we are.
Look, the cellar. The cellar, there's only one door, right? Just one door, that's all we have to protect. Tom and I fixed it so it locks and boards from the inside. But up here, all these windows, why, we'd never know where they were going to hit us next.
Subverting expectations from previous schlocky horror films, in Night of the Living Dead, the military is inept. Not only are they completely ineffective against the Horde, but they don't know how people become zombies. Romero combines the horror of the living dead with the horror of the actual living.
Investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact. When this emergency first began, radio and television was advising people to stay inside, behind locked doors for safety. Well, that situation has now changed, and we're able to report a definite course of action for you. Civil defense machinery has been organized to provide rescue stations with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by armed National Guardsmen. Stay tuned to the broadcasting stations in your local area for this list of rescue stations. This list will be repeated throughout our news coverage. Look for the name of the rescue station nearest you and make your way to that location as soon as possible.
So we have that truck. If we can get some gas, we can get out of here.
There's a pump out by the shed.
I know, that's why I pulled in here, but it's locked.
Called this afternoon by the President. Since convening this conference of the Presidential Cabinet, the FBI, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the CIA has not produced any public information. Why are space experts being consulted about an earthbound emergency? So far, all the betting on the answer to that question centers on the recent Explorer satellite shot to Venus. That satellite, you'll recall, started back to Earth, but never got here. That's the space vehicle which orbited Venus and then was purposely destroyed by NASA when scientists discovered it was carrying a mysterious high-level radiation with it. Could that radiation be somehow responsible for the wholesale murders we're now suffering? Newsman Don Quinn in Washington has posed those questions.
It's obvious our best move is to try to get out of here.
How are you going to get over to that pump? Look!
You're coming from a meeting regarding the explosion of the Venus probe, is that right?
Yes, that was the subject of the meeting.
You feel there is a connection between this and the phenomenon?
There's a definite connection.
In other words, you feel that the radiation on the Venus probe is enough to cause these mutations?
There was a very high degree of radiation.
Well, just a minute. I'm not sure that that's certain at all. I don't think that has been
logical explanation that we have at this time.
In other words, it is the military's viewpoint that the radiation is not the cause of the mutation.
I can't speak for the entire military at this time, gentlemen.
This seems to be...
I must disagree with these gentlemen presently until this is irrefutably proved.
Everything is being done that can be done.
We'll have to...
In the 5 years before Return of the Living Dead made it to the theaters in August 1985, 3 iconic franchises completely changed the horror movie landscape. Halloween had 3 installments.
Lucky kids with silver shamrock masks, gather round your TV set, put on your masks, and watch.
Honey, don't get too close. You'll ruin your eyes.
Jack-o'-lanterns, gather round and watch. Watch the magic pumpkin. Watch.
I think this whole thing is a big joke. I mean, look at this. I mean,
Friday the 13th had 5.
Steve
Steve should never have opened this place again. There's been too much trouble here. Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those two others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention. They were making love while that young boy drowned. His name was Jason.
That he'll continue to seek if anyone ever enters his wilderness again.
Jason was my son, and today is his birthday. That's a good boy. Good Jason.
Jason's out there.
Camp Crystal Lake should really be called Campy Crystal Lake. A Nightmare on Elm Street would have its second entry on November 1st. By this time, horror became normalized, each film less scary than the last. We forget Freddy Krueger was a child molester burned to death by a mob of angry parents.
Please, God.
This is God.
So what really happened?
Well, they closed it all down, see? And the army shipped all that contaminated dirt and all those dead bodies out. And they kept it a secret.
So how come you know about it?
What typical army fuck-up? The transportation department got the orders crossed. And they shipped those bodies here instead of to the Darrow Chemical Company.
Hello? Oh, hi, honey. No, I'll be home in about an hour. You keep the pot roast hot, okay? Yeah, sure. I love you too, honey. Yeah. Kiss, kiss.
Want to see him?
See him?
Corpses.
What are you talking about?
They're down in the basement.
No.
Come on.
No way.
Hey, Mind the third step, it's a bitch.
I mean, they just brought those bodies here and left them?
Well, you know the Army.
And they've been here all this time?
14 years, as I recall.
No kidding.
There they are.
There's bodies in there? Oh, shit! Look at that! You said that thing was alive?
So they say.
Oh, God. Hey, these things don't leak, do they?
Leak? Hell no. These things were made by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Oh, fuck!
Do you ever fantasize about being killed?
Never.
Do you ever wonder about all the different ways of dying? You know, violently? And wonder, like, what would be the most horrible way to die?
Try not to think about dying too much.
Well, for me, the worst way would be for a bunch of old men to get around me and start biting and eating me alive.
I see.
First, they would tear off my clothes.
What are we gonna do? Hey, suicide's down there.
Oh, no way, man. He is gone. That thing ate his head. Jesus.
I don't hear anything down there, do you?
Oh, we gotta call somebody!
Who?
The cops!
Hey, I don't want to call no cops. The cops are just gonna kick our ass.
Just let's get out of here, okay?
Oh, we gotta call somebody!
Wait a minute. Where's Freddy?
He was gone. He wasn't here when I showed up.
Holy shit, we're gonna have to swim to get over there. Damn it. What the fuck was that?
No, it's down!
Dispatch, over. Rescue 7, come in. This is dispatch. Do you copy, over?
Come in, dispatch. Send more paramedics.
Today, zombies are ingrained in pop culture. Flesh-eating, brain-eating undead creatures aren't scary anymore. They're stick figures in the back of someone's SUV. While director Dan O'Bannon may not have been directly responsible for this, Return of the Living Dead never took itself seriously. It helped create the space where things can be gross and funny.
Why do you eat people?
Not people. Brains.
Brains only.
Yes.
Why?
The pain.
What about the pain?
The pain of being dead.
It hurts to be dead.
Return of the Living Dead isn't making social commentary. It wants us to open the door, invite the apocalypse inside, and party like it's 1985. By contrast, Romero's film had so much more to say about people and society. Our survivors were the centerpiece of a poignant, topical drama with a tragic ending. The masters of zombies, Romero, Russo, and O'Bannon, helped create space for horror comedies with zombies like Shaun of the Dead and Warm Bodies.
Aren't you bad, love? Oh, thinks she likes you. Shut up. Thinks she wants a cuddle.
Listen, I'm serious. I've just come out of a relationship.
Do something! Wait there. Ed! 2 seconds. Jeez, look, I'm really flat and everything, really, but I just... And hold it there.
This is my best friend. By best friend, I mean we occasionally grunt and stare awkwardly at each other. We even have almost conversations sometimes.
you, and it's almost driving me wild. And it's my heart that's breaking down this long distance like tonight. But I ain't missing you at all.
Since you've been gone away,
I ain't missing you. No matter what my friends say,
there's a message in the wire, and I'm sending you this signal tonight.
You don't know how desperate I've become, and it looks like I'm losing this fight.
In your world, I have no meaning,
though I'm trying